Hey everybody, Smart Silver Stacker here. Hope you're doing well. The gold price has already broken out of a decade-plus cup and handle pattern, and it has gone nearly vertical to new record all-time highs. Silver's chart is now setting up the exact same way, with the silver price rising rapidly towards the critical $50 breakout level on silver's own massive multi-decade cup and handle pattern. And the timing couldn't be more dramatic, with the Fed preparing to cut interest rates into an environment of record high debt, ballooning interest costs, and rising inflation. This could be the ignition point for one of the biggest silver rallies that the world has ever seen. Let's start with gold. After more than a decade of consolidation, gold finally broke out of this massive cup and handle formation. Since then, it's been on an absolute tear, climbing to record levels north of $3,600 per troy ounce. That breakout pattern is a textbook example of what can happen when long-term pressure finally resolves. It releases enormous upside momentum. Now, silver is following right behind. If you zoom out to the multi-decade chart, silver is forming its own gigantic cup and handle that goes back to the 1980 peak. And right now, it's pressing up against that $50 breakout level. If it breaks, silver could go parabolic just like gold did. Confirming that silver has plenty of upside potential left, even as it approaches its nominal all-time high price levels, the gold to silver ratio is still extremely elevated, over 86. Historically, at the end of a metals bull run, that ratio collapses as silver dramatically outperforms gold. The fact that it's still this high tells us that we are still in the early stages of the bull market, not the end. It's not just the metals themselves showing strength though, the miners are confirming it in a big way. The GDX Gold Miners ETF recently broke out to fresh all-time record highs, finally surpassing the levels of the 2011 bull market. Notably, back then the gold price stalled out around $2,000. Today we're over $3,600, so the miners also still have plenty of room to move to the upside. Junior gold miners, represented by the GDXJ ETF, are up by more than 100% year to date. And on the silver side, the junior silver miners SILJ ETF has just broken out from a massive multi-year consolidation pattern. When the miners lead like this, it's usually the market signaling that the next leg higher in bullion is imminent. And this technical backdrop is colliding with some of the most important macroeconomic drivers we've ever seen. Drivers like massive U.S. labor market weakness. Just this month, prior payrolls for the period April 2024 to March 2025 were revised down by 911,000 jobs. That is the largest downward revision in history. That kind of data screams slowdown, and it's exactly the kind of weakness that forces the Fed's hand. Speaking of the Fed, Jerome Powell has already telegraphed that September is likely the month rate cuts begin. Trump is openly pressuring the Fed to cut by as much as 300 basis points, and his Fed governor nominee, Stephen Miran, is moving towards Senate confirmation to help reshape the Fed's direction. Inflation is still rising, though. The CPI for August just came in at 2.9% year over year, the highest reading since January. So even as inflation ticks higher, the Fed is still set to cut. That is currency debasement in real time. The M2 money supply is sitting at record all-time highs, meaning the fuel for inflation and asset bubbles is already in the system. And the U.S. national debt has now surged to $37.5 trillion. Even more alarming than the debt itself is the cost of servicing it. Federal interest payments have exploded to an annualized rate of over $1.1 trillion. This is one of the biggest reasons that, regardless of what happens with inflation, the Fed has to cut. Trump has even said it himself. We need to refinance the debt at lower rates. Otherwise, the U.S. risks spiraling into a full-blown debt crisis. The bottom line is this: policymakers are trapped. Cutting rates may ease debt service costs in the short run, but it comes at the price of debasing the currency. And historically, that is exactly the kind of environment where gold and silver thrive. So here's where it all comes together. Gold has already broken out. Silver is on the edge of its own generational breakout. The miners are confirming this move, and the Fed is about to light a fire under the entire precious metal sector. That's why, in this environment, I'm paying close attention to select silver mining companies that are positioned to benefit from this rare convergence of technicals and macro policy. And I am about to share with you my #1 all-time pure silver idea for the coming decade. So I'm not beating around the bush. This is it. One billionaire mining tycoon has just increased his position. On top of that, a prominent Argentinian businessman who has already invested millions in May of this year just raised his stake once more by millions of dollars just 2 weeks ago, which is the reason I am profiling this company to you again right now. The momentum is strong. Together, both of them now own roughly a quarter of this stock. As you know, silver is near $42 an ounce, a 14-year high. Wall Street's Bank of America is forecasting $4,000 an ounce for gold, and many are even more excited about silver. The GDX is up an insane 105% in 2025. The GDXJ is up a crazy 110% in 2025. For the first time in history, gold's price has actually hit $3,600 per ounce. And the Federal Reserve has just indicated in the past week that interest rate cuts are coming and could be as soon as the September meeting, just around the corner. Again, I plan to share with you my #1 silver company, and since my debut video on it, the company's share price has appreciated by more than 150%. The breakout in gold, silver, and the GDXJ index is what I've been waiting to happen since 2010, and I won't let it pass me by. No way. This moment is rare, it is precious, and it is one I plan to be very active in. This is the breakout. I am personally convinced of that. You can clearly see that this is a big breakout. The dollar is trading right at its 3-year support line. 5 years after bottoming in the March 2020 market panic, silver has surged by more than 200%, and this is the primary reason that I personally cannot think of a better time to highlight the business model of today's sponsor, Argenta Silver, ticker on your screen, OTC AGAGF. It is available on Interactive Brokers and Schwab. Top 3 reasons Argenta Silver is currently my top silver idea. 2 highly successful businessmen with proven track records in mining are buying millions and tens of millions of shares. Both Frank Justra and Argentinian real estate entrepreneur Eduardo Elstein, who has acquired 25 million shares in March, are major shareholders of Argenta Silver. Just 2 weeks ago, both purchased additional shares, again putting millions of dollars into Argenta Silver. The valuation of the company? Here are the dry figures which tell the story. The previous owners of the El Cavar spent an estimated $60 million Canadian on the project, discovering the 3rd largest pure silver deposit in Argentina and building a 100-person camp. Argenta purchased this project for only $3.5 million US in September. The pure silver deposit contains silver resource of 45.3 million ounces at 482 grams per ton silver indicated and 4.1 million ounces at 417 grams per ton silver inferred. Less than 1% of the project area is explored. I cannot overstate the potential here. This is already the 3rd largest undeveloped pure silver deposit in Argentina. Argenta Silver now has a significant cash position, roughly 18 million US dollars in working capital, and they are drilling as we speak. So results are imminent and will continue to come for the next few months. Remember, this project was dormant for over a decade, so this drilling program is critical. Again, the ticker on the OTC is AGAGF. This is one of the reasons that, with gold hitting a historic all-time high, with silver hitting a 14-year high, and with one of Argentina's most prominent businessmen, Mr. Eduardo Elstein, with a track record in mining, investing 7.5 million Canadian dollars in Argenta Silver, and with billionaire mining magnate Frank Justra calling this project a vehicle to fulfill a 40-year dream to scale a pure-play silver company, I am featuring it to you. El Cavar is situated in Argentina's top mining jurisdiction, Salta Province, which is the best voted jurisdiction of Latin America by the Fraser Institute for 2023. Not only that, but the government and the previous owners did plenty to build the infrastructure that Argenta Silver has inherited with this acquisition. A ready-to-use camp for 100 people, greater than 600 kilometers of internal roads, and external infrastructure including an active railroad, a pressurized gas pipeline, a road, and a high-voltage power line. Do your homework on Argenta Silver, ticker AGAGF. Like I said, this really matters to me that both Eduardo Elstein and Frank Justra have been buying millions of shares of Argenta Silver in 2025. Frank Justra says that Argenta's silver resource is a once-in-40-year opportunity. So research Argenta Silver, OTC ticker AGAGF. You can learn more with the links down in the description. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay safe and happy stacking, and I will catch you next time. Smart Silver Stacker, out.